107. Look at 42. The righteous shall see it and rejoice, and all iniquity shall stop her mouth. Whoso is wise and will observe these things, even they shall understand the loving kindness of the Lord. And I want to speak about the loving kindness of the Father. The loving kindness of the Father.
If you was, just so that you can understand where we're coming from, the Lord wants us to understand and to really grasp our relationship with Him, how He feels about us. And when we think about what God has done for us in giving Jesus, we understand that He desires for us to move to a new place in our thinking about our relationship with Him.
Yes.
The problem is many of us base our relationship with God on the relationship that we have with our earthly father. And the truth is, if I was to base my relationship on God with my relationship with my earthly father, I would have an understanding that I am loved, but it would be an absent relationship. You understand what I'm saying here? And so the Lord says He wants us to move to a new place. Now, the unique thing about Psalms 107 is, remember I told you guys that the book of Psalms can be divided into 5 different books, and it's based upon the Pentateuch. Well, Psalms 107 begins book 5. And book 5, of course, the Pentateuch is known as the Deuteronomy book. If you remember, the book of Deuteronomy was Moses' last farewell to the children of Israel. Remember, they had come to the end of their wilderness wandering, and Deuteronomy is known as second law. And so, in other words, he said, Moses is saying, I understand that you've got Leviticus, you have a whole lot of other books. That may be complicated for you to understand. So now we're going to put this in simple form so that you can understand. Now, the book of Psalms 107, it tells us that we're moving into a new place. The purpose of this was they were getting ready to go into to the promised land. They were getting ready to inhabit places that was promised to them, things that the years of being in exile, going through slavery, from being oppressed, the Lord was saying it's getting ready to stop right now. That you've got to change the way you think, because for 40 years He had been giving them water from a rock. He had been feeding them with quail and manna from on high, where He was hand feeding and taking care of His people. And He was saying, I want you to understand now that I have taken care of you for a long time, but now I'm getting ready to fulfill my promise to you, whereas I won't have to take care of you every morning, but now I'm going to give you vineyards that you did not plant. You're no longer going to dwell in a tent, but now I'm going to give you houses you did not build. You're no longer going to be wandering around in the wilderness. I'm going to give you cities you did not establish, and everybody that's around who see you, who talk to you, and know you, gonna know that I am your Father, and I love you. There won't be no ifs, ands, and buts about it. People won't have to sit back and wonder. Now you're gonna know that I have a relationship with you. And the Lord said, what you got to understand is I've always been with you. Yes. I've been with you when you wasn't with me. Yes. When you didn't think about me. Yes. I was loving you. Even when you thought I did not love you. Yes. When you got upset with me because I didn't give you what you want. When you was throwing your temper tantrum around thinking that because you act up you was going to make me move. God said, no, I was allowing you to grow up and realize I am your Father. Now, see, in Psalms 107, he says, you're going to understand. Now, you'll be able to say, Our Father, according to Romans. See, a slave couldn't say that.
Come on now.
That was punishable by death to address somebody with such stature as, in other words, to make yourself and to associate yourself with someone of God's stature. If you was to do that back in the Bible days, if you was to call someone Master or Abba, Father, you were in trouble. So the Lord says, first of all, you don't have to be afraid of how you dress me. My son already told you, our Father which art in heaven, he's my Father, he's your Father.
Amen.
No way he dwells. He sits high and he looks low. He knows everything. But see, in this Psalms 107, he says, now, this is the unique thing. Take some time to read this. It goes to talking about if we just give thanks to the Lord. See, that's what it's about. How many of us, as you as a father, if your children give you things, well, what they do for you? Push your chest. You go to thinking, you go to feeling good about yourself instead of giving them one. Oh, son, get two. When we start giving praise and everything. And the Lord says, what you got to understand is if an earthly father feels good about giving thanks to him, how much do you think I feel? And so it goes and says, what we do is first of all, start giving thanks for things and stop complaining. We as children, what we do sometimes is our Father give us things, we complain about it. So in other words, I understand you may not get exactly what you want, but it's what you need. Because that's what he promised. He promised, I will supply your needs. And so wherever you are in your life right now, we've got to understand we're there because God desires for us to be there. In other words, we're there because he's teaching us something, something we haven't learned yet. So if we just going to learn it, we can move to the next level of things. So now we find here that in Psalms 107, if you go to look in here and look at this, it goes to talking about deliverance of people, that when they were hungry and thirsty and their soul was fainting, that when they cried unto the Lord in the trouble, in verse 6, he delivered them out of their distress. It says, so in other words, when you was going through what you was going through and you was calling out, it was not your intelligence that brought you out. It was not your job or loan that made it wait for you. It was the loving kindness of the Lord. And then it goes on to talking about in verse number 8 on down through verse 14. It goes to talking about how people was doing things and because they were rebellious. How, some trouble we got ourselves in. It was because of our own doing. It was because of our own thinking. But the truth is, in verse 14, he brought them out of darkness in the shadow of death and break their bands asunder. So that was God that did that for you, even when you was rebellious. And then it goes on to talking about how sometimes we go off on things and talking about how the sailors go off and how, we go to thinking about, I got a good idea, and we jump off into things, and it says that they had no idea in the world that a storm was coming up. And so many times we get off into things, but we don't know what's coming down the corner. And so now we find that a storm came up, and they cried unto the Lord because they realized the waves was bigger than the boat they were in. And it says that because of his loving kindness, he brought them to a safe harbor. It goes on to talking about not only that, but it talks about how when we're in want and when we're in need. It talks about the rich, how, we look at the rich and we wonder sometimes, God, it's not fair. They never pray to you. They never call upon you. And God said, don't you worry about that. I'm going to take care of them, and I'm going to take care of you. And it says that if we could just learn and realize that God has brought us out of so much and delivered us from so many things, that it was his loving kindness and his tender mercy all along. It says that if we do these things, then we will be wise. Not your degree, not how smart you are, but if you can just learn to look at the simple things and understand it was the loving kindness of a heavenly Father that brought us out of everything. He says, so don't base it off your relationship with your earth. No. And he says, if you got a good earthly Father, he says, well, base it off that and just understand, I'm better than that. Come on now. So he says, in other words, I want you to realize it was your heavenly Father all along. Yes. I don't know about you. Let us learn to look at the goodness of the Lord and to appreciate Him for the little, the simple things He's done. All right? Amen. Amen. With that being said, please. You may come